Welcome to Optimal Living Starts Here. I am Coach Versandra, your host. This is where you stop in on a regular basis to find out more about how you can live a more healthy, happy life. And we are focused on making sure our active duty military, veterans, and their family members have a source for wellness. In today's episode, I have brought to you a very special guest joining us from Massachusetts. Our special guest is Coach Athena Callender, and she is the founder of Restoring Wellness and Wealth. Restoring Wealth and Wellness. No matter how you look at it, her organization is doing amazing things to help women who are transforming in their lives from sometimes being the busy boss lady to shifting and becoming more grounded in who they were born to be. So stay tuned for our special guest, Coach Athena Callender.
Optimal living, living optimally.
We are back, and my special guest is Athena Callender. And as I stated, she is joining us from not in the local community because we know it is a regular thing for optimal living, education, and retreats, and this wonderful show to introduce you to people right in our own backyard. But this young lady, I'm telling you, it felt like she was just around the corner when I reached out to her on social media. And this young lady, she's definitely an MBA in a whole lot of different ways. But let me tell you, she is the founder of Restoring Health and Wellness. Her mission, and I got to make sure that I put this out, is to create generational wealth and health in the BIPOC communities globally. But back to that story about when I met her on social media. She has this wonderful group with thousands of professional women from across the globe that are coming into this group, and she inspires them with these daily messages. She kind of connects them with her lifestyle business, because it is that. You'll learn more about her lifestyle business as we go further in this interview. But she has so much to offer to our veterans and active duty military and their family members who are tuning in to this show on Beam TV. Welcome, Athena.
Thank you, Versandra. I'm so privileged and honored to be here. That was a beautiful introduction. Gratitude.
Yes, I tell you, I went into the group and I said, okay, I'll just join yet another group for women. And it's all good because women, we know when we come together, amazing things happen. And so when I went into the group, I said, okay, let me see what kind of things are happening here. What are they talking about? And yes, she gets into this whole plant-based diet thing, and she tells us inspirational messages and things, gives us these morning thoughts and so much more. Tell our audience that's listening on Beam TV a little bit more about why you even started that group on Facebook.
Absolutely. And Versandra, again, thank you for having me on. I'm based here in central Massachusetts, so not too far, just right up the coast. But really, my heart is around helping to empower women. And, in terms of creating the private Facebook group is a way for me to now build my platform. In my stages, I've left a 25-year corporate sales career. And so now I'm on my healing journey, and I'm on my mission to really help to light women up in such a way, and so with that group, I'm able to reach and connect with women globally. And again, I'm based right here in Central Massachusetts, but my mission branches out much, much broader. And so again, I'm looking to connect with like minds again, and hence for Sandra and my connection. And my father is also a veteran where he served in the Air Force, as a cook. And that's where I get my love of culinary arts from my father. But really, my group is just to help empower women, to inspire them on their healing, transformational journey. As I've been able to heal myself and level up and find my purpose, I want to be able to help women to do the same. And the irony is social media, AI, technology, that's the way that we do it now. And so back in the day, I used to go door knocking, but now it's through Facebook and social media strategies to meet people. But for me, it's all from the heart. And that's why I was able to connect with Versandra. And that's why I've been able to gather a little over 1,200 women and growing to be able to help them step by step, to be able to create the life of your dreams, heaven on earth. And so that's my mission. And so again, Versandra, thank you.
Yes, I love it. Creating the life of your dreams. This is a part of a series that we do that's related to women sharing her story. We know his story. It's talked about all the time. His story, his story, his story. But her story is so very important too. And that is another reason why I stick with your group, because you are tailoring your messages to the things that professional women who maybe have these amazing callings and these amazing gifts and talents, and they give so much in their various roles, sometimes as a mother, sometimes as a professional woman that is managing gobs worth of money in budgets and everything, and then they come back home and then they have to be sister and cousin and the cook and the so many other things. And sometimes we lose ourselves, and sometimes we need a guide on our road back to health and well-being. And I've noticed many things on your page that help us to redirect and come back home to our hearts. And I just love you for that. And I want to know, tell our audience, what do you think the top outcomes that show up from your particular private group on Facebook? What do you hear the most from the individuals that come and check in from time to time? What are they saying?
So the women that are coming in, what I'm finding they're saying is that they're on their healing journey. A lot of people are now waking up. And so what I'm finding, a lot of people are looking to transition to more plant-based diets to overcome a lot of chronic health issues. A lot that presents is obesity, high blood pressure, cancer, and a plethora of other diseases related to the womb. Infertility and, STIs and different types of things around that. And so what I encourage the women to do, is to look at different ways to return back to Mother Nature. And I'm a big proponent of all natural. I'm indigenous, and so that's been a big proponent to my deliverance. And so again, I'm just helping to teach women step by step what they can do. But what they're coming with is oftentimes, I'm on the journey, and what can I do to, adopt a plant-based diet? What are some recipes? What are some herbs that I could take to help me, lower my blood pressure and that sort of thing? And so, and then part of what I do is kind of sharing my world, truth be told, in terms of cooking in the kitchen, working with medicines, and even grounding. There's a lot of health benefits with that practice, where we are electromagnetic beings. And so again, it's just recognizing that God is inside of us, this spark. And so it's like that movie Soul, everyone's just trying to find their it, and so for me, I just want to help people to see that, there's it, inside of you just wants to be free to create, because we're all creatives in our own way, but we have to be able to break free from a lot of the limiting beliefs, a lot of the generational trauma that keeps us locked up. And a lot of that's in our gut, which is what you talk about, the nutrition, because we are what we eat, and not just food, but the things that we program with our eyes, and so, I just want to help people to kind of break free from the current paradigm. We're in a new age now, where we've left the age of Pisces. We're in the age of Aquarius now. So that was the age of belief. Now we're in the age of knowing. So people are now wanting to be more enlightened, and wanting to lighten up. And so, that's the work that I do, helping people to unpack. And that's like a lot of the programming that I've designed, because our outer world mirrors our inner world. And so again, we have to be able to see what's inside. And a lot of that's the shadow and the things that we, just kind of tuck back. But we have to address, and especially now with the global sickness, has brought a lot of that to the surface, with the social distancing, and everybody's at home, and, you have to deal with your stuff now. There's no escaping the stuff. And so everyone's like, and so now we see a lot of workplace wellness programs, a lot of needs for retreats, a lot of needs for the work you're doing with massage and alternative healing modalities, because Western medicine has its place, but it's not primary now. It needs to take a secondary seat to more holistic, natural self-care, which is what I preach, with the ACV and the TCM, so I merge the East and the West. And that's the work that I've done to be able to get the full view and full scope of how to heal the body. On many levels.
Absolutely, Athena. I just love your wealth of knowledge and how much passion you have as it relates to sharing this information with women who are on that path, and they're looking to be enlivened and enlightened in ways that will help them to loosen up and lighten up, as you mentioned. I love that. I absolutely love that. But I know that women like to hear where you came from, and your story is so dynamic. I tell my story often about my transformation occurring in a time where I became homeless and basically went from, this career as a district sales manager running 22 stores in 3 states, down to trying to figure out, how do I eat day to day? And then through that transformational period, I became the new person that I am today, with a whole new mindset and way of living. And I know that you had a life-changing experience that occurred in Mexico, I believe it was. And oh yes, I want you to talk about that, but I also want you to give honor to your tribe, because you did mention that you were indigenous and you are a member of a tribe. Please share that information as well with our audience, because we have lots of indigenous people in this Phoenix City, Alabama, and Columbus, Georgia area as well.
Awesome. I'm so happy to share my story. And it's a long story, so I'm going to make sure that it's relevant to the audience today. But, growing up, I was raised by parents, they're married now over 50 years, which is kind of unheard of. But I was raised, they're entrepreneurs in a Christian church. And so, I was brought up to believe in faith and tithing. And I was saved at a young age, raised over in California, although I was born in central Massachusetts. So I grew up in the mountains and in the creeks. And so it was this beautiful foundation that I had growing up. But then at the age of 12, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and I had major back surgery that would change the whole trajectory of my life. And from that moment, I saw myself as a cripple, somebody that would never reach my full full potential. And as a result, I suffered from low self-esteem, very anger, full of rage, and didn't know how to manage that. So needless to say, got into toxic, relationships growing up, and found myself a single mom at the age of 19. I was pregnant and I didn't want to be a statistic, but yep, there I was. But I knew that, I didn't want to be, a welfare mom, or, just be broke, busted, and disgusted. And so I knew that I had to persevere. And so I went on to get my bachelor's degree. And I thank God that in 2003, I got my bachelor's in business. And then from there, I've been able to work across multiple industries in business, from Bank of America, Santander, Enterprise, Rent-A-Car, New York Life Insurance Company. So I paid my dues and even gotten my master's degree.
Yes.
But throughout all the ups and downs of corporate, because it is a machine that will chew you up and spit you out, and it doesn't have any heart or soul. It's just all about the dollar. I learned how to do the dance, but at the same time found myself fired from almost every corporate job because it just was not for me. Plus I had growing to do, truthfully, because I was jaded and I suffered from depression and bipolar disorder. And even though I was raised in the church and had a strong relationship with the Creator, there were still things inside of me that I needed to work out. And so as a result of things being not in alignment, things were just there was a lot of disharmony, so to speak. But needless to say, as I furthered my career, I realized, being 200 pounds overweight, suffering from allergies, asthma, wanting to commit suicide, that something had to give. Yes. And I thank God for my husband, because he introduced me to Dr. Sebi. He introduced me to the holistic life, and he introduced me to things outside of what I was used to in terms of my traditional way of thinking. And so with those seeds, what took root was me wanting a better life. And again, having my teacher Sebi, talking about alkalinity and plant-based diet. And I had prayed and asked God to deliver me. My prayers weren't answered. And it was close to my time of getting close to 40 that I wanted to get pregnant. And I was in my last corporate job. I was selling healthcare data and analytics. And I always wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't think I liked science. Come to find out, I love all the sciences now. And I just love everything about the body. But I learned a lot about the healthcare market and all of the therapies that are being developed from some of the top pharmaceutical, med device, biotech companies. And at that time, there was a conflict of interest in my heart, knowing what the adverse effects are from some of those therapies. And then plus being indigenous, I'm a Hassanamisco Nipmuc. And part of this whole journey is getting back to my root, knowing myself. So I know I'm kind of going all over the place. So I'm trying to land my plane. So I just appreciate you guys for being with me here.
Yes.
I'm saying all that to say, my womb was closed in that corporate job. And I knew that something had to give. Even though I was making multiple six figures, I was the #1 sales director. Things were looking really good for me. But in my heart, I knew there was something more. And I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have freedom. I wanted to have abundance. And for me, I am the CEO. And as much as I love Jason Krantz, thank you for the opportunity. I knew I was not Jason. I knew I had to do something for myself. Yes. And in healing myself, because I wanted to get pregnant, so 200 pounds wasn't going to happen. I knew I had to make a radical life change.
You said your womb was closed. I want to stop right there. Let's just take a quick break. We'll come right back to you, audience, with more of this story where Athena Callender is sharing Athena Callender is sharing her story about overcoming some major life transitions, and you don't want to miss this. And we are back with Athena Callender. And I've thought so much about her name since we were speaking earlier. And she's talked about so many things, being an indigenous woman. She's talked about the whole BIPOC community and how her services supports this specific community. And it is definitely international because we are everywhere. And BIPOC, for those who don't know, we're talking about Black and indigenous people, and basically of color. And we are everywhere. So many different shades and hues. And thank you so much for being committed to that. But I would like to just mention your last name as it relates to this whole thing. I'm all into this whole Mayan calendar. I wanted to ask you, are you familiar with the Mayan calendar?
What's interesting, I would say yes and no. Where I'm
Okay.
learning about new philosophies and new ideas. And so with the Mayan calendar, of course, with 2012, the Mayans had predicted, because their calendar is slightly different than, the Gregorian calendar that we're using and that sort of thing in terms of prophecies. But either way you slice it, just a little something.
Yes, that's good. I think it's really good for us to just shift sometimes our thinking and the information that we have learned. Sometimes we need to unlearn some things, sometimes we need to relearn, but it's really good to exercise our brain in that way, because that's also a part of being well and being whole, is exercising our brain by introducing new information. So that's what I really love about that. So I regress. We're going to get back into your story because, yes, the wound being closed, connecting with a coach that was amazing to help you get back on track with nutrition and losing weight and really making major shifts. Now, share with our audience, what are some of the maybe the top 3 things that you took away from that experience as you made that transformation yourself?
Absolutely. Some of the things that I took away, from my coaching experience, which happened to be a career coach, but it's all about finding the soul within, because my soul was dead. And so I was looking to level up career-wise, but I didn't know that it would really help me to catapult my entrepreneurial spirit. And that really got lit up, once I realized that I could heal myself naturally. And so with that program, part of it was with the meditations. And it taught me about the chakras. And that was something new for me. And so when I started doing the root chakra meditation all the way up to the crown, and started journaling, and it was very specific journaling prompts with this program, what I'm grateful for, what I can brag about myself. It just lit me up in such a way that I was not expecting. And so thank you, Coach Mo and Coach Miliana, because it works. And so energetically, Versandra, with the meditations, because I didn't realize the shifting that would take place dealing with the root, and a lot of our trauma is locked up in the root, what I mean? Our families of origin and that sort of thing. And so everything just became free. And so that was one of my biggest takeaways, is the meditations, but more particularly, with the chakras and energizing those centers in the body, not just with the sound vibrations, but also with food. So for example, one of the things I take away too is with the eating live foods, which was also presented in the program, because Coach Mo recognized the importance of eating live foods. It's going to lighten you up. But it, again, took me on a different path because I really took it to heart. Because I wanted to be free. And so that comes in with your apple a day. And then even with the hydration, drinking 1/2 of your body weight in ounces of water every day. And so again, we are electromagnetic beings. God is inside of us desiring to create, magical masterpieces from all of the brokenness from within. So it's like a stained glass window. You know what I mean? Just think about in the churches, all that stained glass, the beauty of that light coming through, you know? And so that's what God desires to do within each and every one of us on the potter's wheel. And so again, the hydration, but then also too, what I've taken away is your words. You know, words sound power. And so what is it that you're thinking? What are you speaking? You know, really being cognizant about your identity, how you see yourself. And so that was also presented in the program. You know, your word is your wand. There's an author, Florence Shulkin, which I recommend a lot of my clients listen to that.
Me too. I really do.
Yes, because
Yes.
the Bible says, you know, to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
So is
You know,
he.
so we have to like reprogramming our mind, you know, by stop thinking, you know what I mean? And so that's where we have to learn how to breathe. And if it's okay with you, Versandra, what I'd like to do is maybe take a moment with the audience to do some breath work. Because
Oh, yes. Yes. I love taking these breaks here because I get to practice as well.
And it's one of my favorite things to do in interviews too, because it's just a great way to reset. But then also for those that are in the listening audience, and those that are also viewing in, this is something you can do just, you know, following my guide. And so one of the things that we're so accustomed to in this Western civilized society is just go, go, go. You know, we're working these 9 to 5s, and really it's not even a 9 to 5, more like, you know, 12-hour days, 60, 70-hour work weeks. You know, it's something that is just not practical, and it's not built to last. All right. And so one of the things we have to do is take a step back, breathe, inhale, exhale, so that we can smell the roses. All right. And so again, it's just all about being in our now moment, because a lot of us are caught up in our thoughts of yesterday. And when we're caught up in the thoughts of yesterday, that's known as depression, you know? And then if we're thinking too far ahead about the future and what am I going to do to make my ends meet? And now we're talking about the recession and the political powers are changing and all this stuff is, oh, you know, these illusions. So again, that's anxiety. So we just got to be, whoop, you know, right here in our now moment. And how can we do that? Taking our breath. And the breath is what is the most important component to our life, because that's what we come into this world, taking that first breath. And when that breath leaves our body, you know, that's all she wrote. So in the meantime, in between time, we have to learn how to modulate our breathing. And in doing so, with practice breath work, we're able to calm the nervous system, you know, because a lot of us have behavior patterns and trauma that's just resonating in such a way that the nervous system is shot. So we have to practice breathing. So that's what I like to do with the group. And that's been very helpful. So I have on my music. I just want to take a moment just to kind of clear the air. And so sound is something that's also very sacred in healing. The sound vibrations have been very helpful for me. And that's a whole nother a video for another day. But what I'm doing now, we can just sit up nice and tall, and we're just going to put our hands gently into our lap. So what I'm going to teach the group is what's known as the 5-5-7 breath. And so what we're going to do is just take a nice deep inhale for a count of 5, pushing out our belly, a nice diaphragmatic breath. We're going to hold our breath for a count of 5. And then we're going to slowly exhale for a count of 7. It's like you're blowing air through a straw. So we can do, audience, let's go ahead, sit up nice and tall. Let's take a nice deep inhale for a count of 5. Inhale. Pushing out your belly. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Slowly exhale for a count of 7. That just feels so good. I just get so happy. All right. So let's go ahead and take a nice deep inhale for a count of 5. Hold your breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly exhale for a count of 7. And slowly exhale for a count of 7. Wonderful. Last.
Mm.
Let's take another nice deep inhale. Count of 5. Just breathing in that life force. Hold. And slowly exhale for a count of 7. And then family, you can just sit right there for a moment. Just knowing that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are divinely protected. Abundance is all around you. And you are whole.
Mm. Mm. Yes, that feels so good. It feels so amazing. It's like just to be energized all over again, and you're ready to start the day again.
Or go back in your meditation again, because you don't have to come out. And that's the beauty of this whole thing is
Yes.
in that time, just to clear your mind and just to become one with all, within. And it's just a great way to help to increase your concentration and focus and to bring more clarity and vitality to your being. As you can see, me and Rosandra are blissed out right now. We're just high off of life. And we just want you to get high off of life too.
Yes,
Because it's good
yes.
on this other side.
It's absolutely amazing. And to our audience, this is something that you can literally drop into at any point in time in your day. If you're feeling a little bit out there and you need to just come back in, you can escape into a few moments of breath work to bring you back into a grounded space where you can deal with whatever challenges that may be facing you. Thank you so much, holistic and health and life coach. I say that you're all that because you're so much more than just a health coach. And I'm so happy that you have chosen to specifically work with women of color from all walks of life that are looking to expand themselves and reconnect to the light within. Coach Athena Callender, we want you to make sure that our viewers know how to get in touch with you. We talked about the fact that you have this private Facebook group where you are inviting women from all around the world to be a part of this group. So tell them, how can they connect with that particular group?
Awesome, great. So you can find me on Facebook at Athena Callender. And then my private Facebook group is Restoring Wealth and Wellness. And I'm going to be happy to drop those links along with this recording. And then you could also find me at athenacallender.com, my website. And then I'll be able to direct you, to my private Facebook group and other resources that I have available to help you on your spiritual healing transformational journey.
Yes, yes. Your story is so amazing. And I just want to go just before we close out that whole experience in Mexico where you rediscovered yourself. Basically, you got a new life after that experience. You did not come out the same. Listen, as they say in the church, when you came out the water, you did not come out the same. Tell our audience a little bit more about that experience.
Oh, yes, most definitely. So I'm going to Oaxaca, Mexico. That was the most transformative experience of my whole life. That was my pilgrimage. And I was blessed to be able to go to Mexico with some medicine workers, some shamans, bushmasters, and really looking at sacred plants and different alchemies. And so I'm having the opportunity to go to Mexico for the summer and to sit with, some of these plant teachers that have really helped me to overcome a lot of the trauma that I've been, dealing with, like psilocybin and ayahuasca and snake venom and combo and you name it. And in Mexico, I was able to work with, different yogis and just spend time in the pristine waters in Zipolite, where the Zapotec bury their dead. And that's where I was liberated on July 4th of 2021, when I swam nude for the first time. And, I spent long nights up in the mountain and in the cloud forest, by myself. It was like a vision quest, really wanting to hear from God as far as what it is for me to do. So that was a total unplug from the matrix. I just had my phone and but I love the culture, especially in that part of the region. That's where the Afro Mexicans are, so really looking at the indigenous, the culture and the history, and then spending the time in the land, just all these miles away from home, just me and my spirit team. And I met so many beautiful souls, on my journey. And I even had the opportunity to eat crickets and ants and, what I mean? And just kind of just roughing it. And I loved every moment of it, from every bug bite that I got to every tear that I cried to all the laughs, I mean, it was dynamic. And it was very terrifying coming home, Versandra, because I didn't know what was waiting for me on the other side. I wanted to actually start my practice in Mexico, but what had happened was my daughter, Sarah, got pregnant. And so when I went to Mexico the first time in 21 for a week, I was like, I'm moving to Mexico. But then she's like, Mommy, I'm pregnant. So I says, I'm not moving to Mexico, but I'm still doing my pilgrimage, which was needed. But then when I came home, my grandson, we were awaiting the arrival of my first grandson, our first starseed, and he ended up transitioning. He ended up coming. We had a natural home birth with a complicated delivery, and my grandson lived for 10 days. So after coming from my, pilgrimage and then, waiting for my grandson and then having that happen, it was like a dark night of the soul, Versandra, truth be told. But I had to pick myself up. And I thank God for that experience in Mexico, because it was that it was the preparation for what was to come, because it allowed me to withstand that test, and to be able to ride it out, because that was a storm that I'm still, coming through, because it's still fresh. But I thank God for what I was able to learn from that experience. And so my goal now, Versandra, is to be able to lead women back to the fountain of youth, because that's what my programming is all about. But then also there's different levels of healing, what I call this rabbit hole, so I'm able to meet women where they are. And then again, my goal is to set up retreats and containers in foreign lands like Egypt, to go back to Mexico, Jamaica, to go down to Peru, other sites of antiquity, and to bring women together to heal and to figure out how we can go bring the healing to the masses, because that's what this is all about, creating that Voltron.
Yes, yes, yes. I tell you, I'm sure that you will run into, if you have not already, a sister here locally that has had a very similar journey. And she too was there in the Amazon jungle during the time when the world shut down. And Karundi Daniels, so she's been on our show sharing her story as well about that transformative period in history and in her story. And it really resonates with me, because it's like you have to go through something like that in order to totally shift your perspective, because you do not come out the same. And most people that I've run across and have interviewed in the many years in television, radio, that are in the healing arts, they have so many phenomenal stories to share about how they came out on the other side washed as white as snow, and they had this message that they wanted to share with the world, because they know that what they experienced is for everyone. We all can have this joy, this inner peace that lets us know that this world that we thought we were living is not what it's all about. But we come back through and we want to share it with the masses. So we've given them a Facebook page. We've given our listeners a website to connect with you. Is there any other way you want our listeners to reach out to you? Because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that after this interview, they're going to want to know more about how to connect with Coach Athena Callender. Anything else you want to share before we close out?
Great question. So what I would say right now, I'm definitely working on a host of programs that's coming down the pike, so definitely stay tuned. The best way to stay plugged in is through Facebook. So Athena Callender, that's the best way, my main page. And then again, I have my private Facebook group. So if you're looking to be in the inner circle, just wave your hand and I'm happy to add you. And then if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can schedule a one-on-one call with me.
Yes.
And I do have free consultations, holistic consultations that I provide. And you can book that through athenacallender.com. And I'm happy to chat. And I'm always available as a resource.
Yes,
So.
yes. As we close out, one of the biggest things that I've taken away, and I did hear it in the earlier part of this interview, and this is one of my life's missions, is to get people to reconnect again. Because touch deprivation, suffering from poor, loveless, or inadequate physical contact is literally killing us. I read an article just recently from it is a university who's reaching out to the national, World Health Organization, I believe it is. And they are really doing work to get to the bottom of this epidemic proportion of people dealing with loneliness. And when I think about it, I'm saying loneliness, touch deprivation, loneliness, touch deprivation. It's the same. People being left isolated and alone for long periods of time and not experiencing the warmth, the touch of another human being is killing us. And we know from the past research that's out there, from babies dying from not having touch and that being a real deal. But now in 2023, they're calling it loneliness, and they're saying that adults over 18 to the end of their life, the number jumped from 17% to over 80% who are experiencing this loneliness. And so right now, I want myself, Coach Athena, let's just hold sacred space right now for individuals who are suffering from the impact of loneliness. These individuals who don't have another human being to come and even hold their hands or give them a big hug and say, I'm here for you, I love you. We want to just hold space for you guys right now. If you're watching this show and this is you, just know that you are not alone. You are in this world and you are actually being touched right now through this energy that we're transferring through the airwaves, because we know, as Coach Athena said, we are electromagnetic beings. So therefore our energy, although it's all filling up this body, when we send it out intentionally, it actually is received to others. And so we're sending this energy out to you through the airwaves. And we hope that you will discover one of our other shows that talked about self-care and self-love and how you can even massage yourself, touch yourself in order to bring about some healing and restoration from the negative impact of loneliness or touch deprivation. It's good to touch yourself. It is not a bad thing. Take your time in the shower when you're putting on your lotion and those type of things. Love up on you and give yourself that you may be missing from another, because you are perfect, whole, and complete as you are. Nothing is broken. Nothing is missing. And so we've had a great time. We've had a wonderful time here. And I don't want to let you go because we've had such a good time, but I know we're going to connect again, even in maybe a future retreat. Let's maybe partner together and do something here on the Chattahoochee or there in your area. Let's do that in the future. What do you think?
I think there's a retreat coming in Georgia. Be on the lookout. Co-creation. Here we go. 2023. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Well, I would like to give you any last final words, and then we're going to go ahead and close up this particular episode of Optimal Living Starts Here, where we empower active duty military veterans and their family members to live more healthy, happy lives. Closing out, it's on you.
Yes, so just want to let you know, 2023 is the year of completion. It is the year of perfection. 2023 equals 7. It's a divine number, which means that the time is now for you to create the life of your dreams, heaven on earth. The time starts now. So what I want you to do is to start with the end in mind. What legacy do you want to leave behind today? And then what I want you to do is reverse engineer that thing and say, okay, what's the one step I can take, to get there? You know what I mean? And I want you to figure out the people, the places, the things, and see these ideas, and then allow God to miraculously bring that to pass into your life. Your word is your wand. Speak a thing, it'll become a thing. So just be mindful about what you're focusing on. But again, the best is yet to come. So be encouraged. And again, this is Coach T. Just want to say thank you to Versandra and Optimal Living Healing Retreats. It's been a pleasure. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Optimal living.